Welcome all to the weekly outlook. Bernie here from EWPRO. Starting off with the DXY on the daily, nothing's changed on the daily. There really, like I've been mentioning for months now, there really isn't any clear direction. It's either an A, B, C here, and we go up and break the top, which I don't really like because this is so choppy in here. I'm looking at this as a B wave in here, and we get an A, B, C in here, possibly. This may even go and break that top, and I'll still be looking at it as a correction. We have a look at the H4, and you can sort of see why I'm looking at it as a correction. Like I've been going over, we got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We may get a 4 and a 5 up in here as a complex correction, 3, 3, 5 complex correction. Nothing's really changed. We don't have any bearish divergence in here, so I'd be expecting a bit more upside, possibly up to that 161.8, and then get an X2, and then we can look for that wave Z up. On the H1, it's just you got to wait for a correction here. We got a nice impulse, so you're waiting for a correction, and wait for a correction, a buy set up, and then you could look for a more upside. AU on the daily, again, very similar. AU, there's no clear direction again. This one here, this C up here never went. So, we're in some large correction. And I am looking at this as an A, like an A, B, C now, before we get possibly an A, B, C, another one down, and then like the A, B, C, some really large correction. Again, on the daily, there really isn't much of a direction. We're really only scalping on the lower time frames. I've had these arrows on here, well, for a while now, so it's not as if you can't trade this. We had that 1, 2, 3 down in here, so I was looking at that A, B, C, and then an A, B, C. That's playing out. We're getting that wave C down. We're losing all the divergence, so more than likely there is more upside. More than likely, shorter term, there's more downside in it. The H1, we are getting bearish divergence in here now. Getting bearish divergence, so you have to be careful selling this. You'd be selling on a lower time frame, waiting for a pullback in here, possibly on the lower time frames, and then possibly you're just scalping the sells at this stage. We already have that bullish divergence on the H1. So GU on the daily, again, like I've been mentioning for ages, I'm not really looking at the daily for a direction now because, we never got that A, B. We never got a really nice C up, nowhere near that 100 fib. And we do have it like an A, B, C up in here, bearish divergence. Now we're getting, lower low here. It's more on the H4, what I'm looking at for the direction. I'm looking at this as a complex correction as well for possibly more upside. Like we got the 5 up here. We got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here. We are losing the bullish divergence. We aren't getting bullish divergence. So I still don't think this is over in here on the lower time frames. You may get more downside, but eventually I'll be looking for an A, a B, and a C. Really waiting for this wave in here to end, and then I'd be looking for buys. We got the 5 down on the H1. On the H1. We got the 5 down in here for the H1. A correction. and another one down in here. Probably could look at this as well. We didn't get the cross on this one in here like we got on the AU, so we never got a cross. So it's just one wave. So you'd be looking for a correction and then possibly more downside. There's nothing bullish about this at this stage. Even though I am looking at all this as a correction, a larger correction on the H4 as a 335 complex correction for more upside. You can't get into it until it gives you those buy setups, and at this stage there really isn't any buy setups. And even on the H1 you really need to wait for, well, I might even go down to the M15 on this. M15 we're getting the bullish divergence, so yeah, it becomes risky to sell at this stage. EU on the daily, nothing's changed as well. Really looking at the lower time frames for direction. We got that A, B, we got a C up. Is that the end of the wave C? Well, I would have liked to see it go a little bit further up to that 100 fib there. Never got anywhere near it. Sort of looking at an A, B, C, possibly A, B, C in here at this stage. And this is the reason why I'm looking at this as a correction, is because we got the 5 up here. We're getting some sort of an A, B, C in here. This may even turn motive because we don't have any divergence, bullish divergence in there. So this may even turn bullish. Was looking for a sell in here in the group, so that really took off. This was on the lower time frames. We got a sell set up in here. It was only for possibly an A, B, C, or it falls over, and it fell over. So a lot of people will be happy about that. But yeah, you can only sell this at this stage. You got to wait for a pullback, of course. You got to wait for a correction, possibly back to the 50 fib of this, and then you'd be looking for more downside. You've really got to wait for a correction. Unless you're scalping on the lower time frames, you may get 5 up in here on the M5, M15 or something for buy setups, but I'd still be only looking at this as a correction and more downside at this stage. NU, again, like all of the majors, we didn't complete the structure on the daily, so that's why I've been saying I'm not really going off the daily direction anymore, because we never got this C up and never went. So here I'm looking at possibly an A, B, C here. On the H4, we got that nice 5 up in here. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down in here. 1, 2, 3 up, and we're getting more downside. I was sort of looking, well, with these arrows here, I was looking for 3 up in here, like 1, 2, 3. We sort of got 3 up in here, and then it's just fallen over. So we're getting this one down in here. So we get the A, this is the B, and we're getting a C down in here. So I guess I can take all this off and move the count. And so again, like most of the others, I dare say there's more downside in this. On the H1, did we get yeah, we got a cross in here. So we're getting 3 down with the bullish divergence. You'd really, if you want to jump in on this, you'd have to go down to the lower time frames, wait for a little correction in here. and look for downside. At this stage, it's only a sell. It's a risky sell because we already have that bullish divergence. We've broken this low here as well in the C wave, this C down in here. So yeah, ideally, I'm more interested in the buys, but I need a nice impulse up, a correction, and then I can look for the buy. UY, we're looking at this wave set up. We've got this wave set up. We've got all the bearish divergence, like I've been mentioning. I'm only really looking for a sell. It hasn't been giving us those sells, except for in here. But we had those 5 up in here, and this was turning corrective in here. So we got an A. If I just take all that off, we got an A, B, C in here as a flat, and then we got an A, B, C here, and never went up and broke the top. This was looking very bearish, so I was looking for a C down in here, and this may even turn motive because we're at the top of the market. I wouldn't be surprised if this does turn motive. And as you can see from the arrows, I was looking for one up here and then one down here. We're getting that now. It hadn't quite broken the low. You possibly could. You'd have to wait. You'd be basically waiting for a correction similar size to this over here for like a W, X, Y, X2 and a Z down, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whichever way you look at it. You really got to wait for a correction now. There is no bullish divergence, so I dare say there is more downside in this. UY's really taken off, but again, like I've been mentioning, I'm looking at this as the A, all this is a B, and we get a larger C down. We're still in this like A. I'm looking at this as a B in here, and then we get a C down in here possibly too, before we get another one up like for an A, B, C, So it's right up the top of the market. So it's difficult to buy. But even last week we were getting buy setups in here, we're looking for the buy, we had that impulse up. This was like an A, B, C in here, and then we get that A, B, C for the flat, and then we get the A, B, C. We're starting to get that bearish divergence now. So again, if you're scalping up here, you're just scalping, and I'd be looking at that 100 fib on this A, B, C here, the 100 fib. It may turn motive and get up to the 161.8, but yeah, I'd definitely be looking at that as the first target because, we are starting to get that bearish divergence. And of course, on the H1, this is still looking very much bullish here for another one up. We got some 1, 2, 3, 4, getting a 5th one up here in here. So yeah. USD CAD's finally taken off. If I quickly go over it, it never played out. I was looking for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We never got that 5th one up breaking this top, that wave Z. Never happened. And then I was looking at that A, B, C. This was very slow in here. It's starting to get up to that 100 fib now. Very difficult to trade. We got that like A, B. This a very sloppy wave in here. 1, 2, 3. You probably get another 4 and a 5 up in here. Where this wave like this wave here hasn't ended yet, but I'd be looking at like 1, 2, 3, 4 and a 5 up. On the H1, you'd have to wait for the correction again. you'd have to wait for the correction. We got like 1, 2, 3. You wait for the wave 4, and then you trade that wave 5 up. That's the safest way. Wait for the correction instead of trying to buy flags here, especially here where we're right at the 100 fib here on the H4. So, I would expect that correction in here and then go and break that 100 fib in the wave 5 or wave Z. UI on the daily, this one's looking good, and this one's played really nicely. We got a nice impulse up. Well, we got the 3 down in here, bullish divergence, and we got a nice impulse up. So on the daily, I'm waiting for wherever this wave ends, I'm waiting for that correction, and then I'll look for more upside. This may turn motive here too, I dare say. Like, we got the 5 up, larger correction, and we're getting an A, B, C in here. It may turn motive WXY, X2, and a Z up. We're getting the bearish divergence, so I'm still in this one around here somewhere, and I traded all this up in here. If you go back through my videos, I even showed you some of the live entries that I took, like one around here. Got another one here for that. Got out of half of this one up here, and got out of all of this one up here somewhere, and then even added around here, but now just holding this one in here, somewhere around here, and I'm waiting for that larger daily correction. But there's no sign of, this is starting to come to an end here. We got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up in here. We're starting to get bearish divergence on the H1, so it does become very risky to buy up the top. I'm pretty much waiting for that larger daily correction, and then I can look to really load up. EG, nothing's changed on the daily on this either. This is looking very much bearish, like I've been saying, and possibly we get more downside, possibly down to that 100 fib for this A, B, and extended wave C. Oh, sorry. Well, we've got 5 in this wave in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're getting a wave 5. So it's still looking very much bearish. We did get this like A, B, C up in here. It actually got up to the 123.6. But now we're getting 1, 2, 3 here. This may turn more complex as like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you get possibly 3 or 5 up in here as a complex correction before you get more downside. So this may turn more complex. You can definitely scalp this on the lower time frames if you got a good system. You want a good system to trade that on the lower time frames, but you definitely could trade that sort of structure, same as like what we've been doing on the other majors. Yeah. We do have 3 down in here. I got on the H1, I was looking for that 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 up in here. We didn't get the wave 5 up. It got very deep to this wave here. So, if you got in, you still would have, at worst, you get a break even. Now we got that 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we do have bullish divergence in here too between the 2 lows. So I'd be looking for buys, and you may even be getting a buy on this now. You are, by the look of it. It's more on the lower time frames, but this is setting up to be bullish. You'd be looking at at least an A, B, C, and it may turn motive for you. So, if you do get onto it, it may be a good scalp Monday, Tuesday. WTI waiting for a correction on the daily. All this is, I was looking at this as corrective, like it was very slow. It's starting to pick up a little bit now, but I was looking for an A, and this is an A, B, C, and even if this does go and break that top, I'll more than likely be still looking at this as a B wave, and then we get an A, B, C, some sort of running flat, and then more upside A, B, C. Looking at the price action, that's still the way I'm looking at it, but the upside may not be over yet. Looking at 1, 2, 3, waiting for a time factor here for a correction, and then I'll look for that wave Z up. The safest way is to wait for that time factor, similar size correction as this over here, and then start looking for your buy setups for that wave Z. Gold. This is really taken off. I mean, if you have a look on the weekly, I'm looking at that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it looks like we're getting an extended wave in here, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here to finish off that wave Z. So we're getting extended wave Z, and that's pretty much what I'm looking for on the lower time frames. You know, really waiting for this correction now. Like we got 1, 2. We're getting that wave Y. I'll wait for that wave X2 and then look for that wave Z up. Especially buying up here. If you're buying at the tops, you really, if you're not waiting for the corrections, whatever time frame you're looking at, if you're just looking for a little flag up here, more than likely you'll get burnt. It won't play out and it'll go against you. H4 the same, looking at that WXY, you're waiting for an X2 in here and then possibly Z up. Really just waiting for this correction. So, I'll be sitting on the sideline for at least a week or two, sort of got the 5 up in here. Overall, we got the bearish divergence. So again, this was pretty sharp in here. So if anything, I'd be looking for a sell. It's very, I mean, I can't go into it too much, but it really depends on, because we have a ball hidden here. This can be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as like a ending diagonal at the end here. So you got to be careful selling. If you're looking for the sell, which you definitely can, because we've got a nice impulse down, you got to wait and make sure this looks corrective before you do start to look for your sells. Wait for a complete structure, corrective structure in here before you start going down to the lower time frames looking for your sell. But I'd be more inclined to look for a sell than a buy. For the buy, you want to impulse up and a bullish setup to buy to go and break that top. Either or, we're really just waiting to see if this is bearish correction or it gives you a bullish correction, really. And because we're right at the top of the market, you're really just scalping. I mean, we're down on the M15 chart, so silver's very similar as well. This is motive, of course. Now I'll have to take this off. Looking for 5 up in here now. So yeah, really waiting for pretty much the same as last week, really just waiting for that correction, daily correction, and then you can trade that wave Z up on the daily. on the lower time frames, you know, even last week I was waiting for that correction. So, and nothing's changed this week. I wait for the corrections, you know, before I trade. You know, if I haven't got a correction, I leave it alone until I do, and then, you know, I'll be looking for that wave Z up. More than likely, this will correct. Well, it will, you know, when this wave's finished, and you know it's gone a fair way. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start to get that correction. Ideally, we get a bull hidden in here and a buy set up, and then I'll look to buy to go and break that top. What's happening on Bitcoin this week? Nothing's really changed. We're in this correction, and that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for that WXY, waiting for this correction, this time factor here, and then we can look for that wave Z up. Sure why we've got all these other arrows, but they're on the lower time frames. We're starting to get a larger correction. You know, we sort of got like A, B, C up in here. You get an A, B, C in here for that X2. And then we're waiting for that buy setup to buy. I mean, you could look for a sell. You know, you got the bearish divergence. You really want to have got in here on the lower time frames. Pretty sure I did put this in the group too. On the lower time frames, there was a sell, you know, for this, just for like an A, B, C, and it may turn motive. But you know, if you're not in this, well, it becomes difficult now because this is turning motive like a W, X, Y, X2. So you have to wait for this X2 before you can sell. You know, at this stage, unless you're just scalping flags or something. It's not something I do. They're not high probability trades. I teach my traders how to trade the high probability trades. Stay out of the riskier trades. You know, that's how you make money. Trading high probability trades all the time. If you're just trading the high probability trades, setups that I teach, and they are, you know, there's I'm not going to go into it, but they are really, they're really good setups that I teach. The system itself, yeah. But yeah, so really, there's not much you can do. You have to wait for this. I mean, where is this to? We're nowhere near that 100 fib yet. So, you know, if you're looking for, well, I'll just go quickly down to the lower time frame and show you. So this is the top here. You know, so we got a nice impulse down. You know, we're waiting for a correction. You'd be waiting for a correction in here, and then you could look for a sell. The only way you can buy it is ideally get a lower low and you get a bullish divergence, then a nice impulse up and a bullish setup. If you're buying bullish setups in here, you know, you're still buying into a correction. S&P 500, we got the 5 up in here. Lost all that bearish divergence. So I'm just looking for that larger correction, and I dare say we will get that larger correction, and then we can start looking for the buys again. This is very choppy up the top here. It still looks very much bullish. You know, this still looks very much bullish. There's no impulse. You know, we didn't get an impulse and a correction. So, well, on this time frame, you know, it's very much bullish still. So, you know, it's going to be very hard to sell into this. At this stage, I'm just waiting for that larger correction on the daily, and then I'll start looking for the buys once I see a complete structure, corrective structure, and then I'll start to look for the buys. Other than that, I don't want to sell into a correction. If it's going to be choppy, you'll just get cut to pieces. That's not something I do. It's not high probability trades like I teach. there was this trade. The one that you wanted to get in was in here, and I did show this on the weekly outlook. We had that bearish divergence here. We had that nice impulse down. This is what you had to sell. It was more than likely would have taken you out at break even, or you may have got some profit out of it. But you got to get on the first one. Like, and again, I can't go into how we look for trades, or how the system. I can't share you the system on this YouTube, but this was here. That, so you can see how choppy this is. It would have, if you didn't get out, it would have come down out and took you out at break even. So and again here you get in. Well, it didn't really give you a setup to get in, but if you got in up here, some on the lower time frames for that, if you didn't get out, well, it come back and took you out. And that's what happened. That this is what's happening. This will probably go up here and then it'll come down here, and it'll be very choppy until we get that daily correction, I dare say. S&P 500. We got up to the 100 fib in here. So sorry, the AU 200. We got that A, B, C. We're looking for that C up. It's hit that target like that 100 fib. So really, I'm looking for a larger correction. I'm looking for more like downside or a correction to here, in here, or we get the larger like A, B, C in here, like I've got it drawn on the higher time frames. So I'm looking for downside. But again, this is looking more bullish. Still looking very much bullish up the top here. So, yeah, pretty much I just leave it alone. I've got to wait for that larger correction. We did get a larger correction in here. We got 5 up, A, B, C in here for the flat. It's gone up and broken the top. I mean, we may get 5 in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like we got here. So, if you did get a bullish setup, you could look for it, but we're at that 100 fib, and ideally you're getting into these and you're adding to your positions, and you still got half of these trades on, and then you can sort of take these higher riskier trades up here because you've still got trades on. So if it does go against you, well, you can just close out all your trades and still get a little bit of profit out of it, or break even, or whatever it is, but will not lose money, but yeah, this is looking very much bullish. People in my group know how to trade this, and I'm not going to go into it here, how we get into these trades, but we are getting bullish divergence in here, these two lows here. So we're getting some sort of an A, B, C in here. This may not be over and it may turn motive. So you got to wait. You got to wait for the setups. I mean, I wish I could go over, how I trade and all that, how I get my setups, because it will spin a lot of years out. They're very high probability trades. The highest probability trades that I know anywhere, and I've taken quite a few courses. I've been trading for, I think it's about, well, since 2007, I think I started trading. So, been trading for a long time. UK, the FTSE, this is looking very corrective in here. Yeah, I really don't like this. This is very volatile. It hasn't been playing nicely. We had that nice flat in here, A, B, C, and that played out. We got that A, B, C. Then I was looking for that A, B, C here. It never went up to that 100 fib. Now it's got there, but it's got there very, very slow, very choppy. I would just be leaving it alone. I can't see why anyone would want to even trade this pair when there's so many other things to trade that give you good setups. We look at the last bit here. We're getting bearish divergence. So what I'd be looking for is a nice impulse down corrective structure, and then I'll be looking for a sell. You know, it's quite obvious because all this is looking so choppy and bearish. You know, any bearish setup, you know, I'd definitely be looking for a sell. At this stage, there is no sell on it. We're getting the bearish divergence, but that doesn't mean that we don't get more upside, because this on the lower time frames may be bull hidden here and you get more upside. And more than likely that's probably what's happening, and it is, you know, exactly like I thought. You know, we're getting bullish hidden here, so if you got a bullish setup you could scalp it. Again, I don't do that, and I don't really teach that, because it's not a high probability trade when we're looking at the higher time frames. So, but yeah, if you got a bullish setup you could sell it. If this come down here and then gave you a correction, you could look for the sell. If it gave you this impulse and a correction, you could look for the buy, for the bull hidden. But yeah. Lastly, onto the DAX. This one's played out a little bit better. I mean, I was looking for a larger C down in here for that A, B, C. We did get the C down, and then it's given more upside. We got a 5 up on here, over here. So we got A, B, and we're getting that C up. This is still very much motive. So I wouldn't be surprised if we just get a correction in here and possibly more upside. But, you know, like I've been mentioning, really, there was this buy in here. We got that A, B, C. It's nearly up to that 100 fib. It didn't quite get up to that 100 fib. Overall, you know, we got bearish divergence. So, you know, that's what I've been saying. You know, we pretty much have to wait or look for sells. And you're looking for sells on the lower time frame. It hasn't been giving us many sells. Can't really remember what was last week, but you can see here we got a bull hidden. You know, never went and broke the top. It was corrective, but you can see how choppy it is coming down. When they're choppy like this coming down, more than likely it's corrective for more upside. So if you're trying to sell into this, you know, you've got to get your trades to break even as soon as you can, and yeah, just ride out the correction until, you know, I'd be looking for at least a 50 pip retracement of this. So around this area somewhere, I'd be looking for, you know, a correction. So you'd be trading this choppy wave in here. You try and get in on the first one and you just ride that out. If you get it to break even, you just ride that out. You know, corrections and that you don't sort of add to. It's only motive waves that you add to. But yeah, there's really not much on it at this stage. You were getting all this bullish divergence, so really, I wouldn't be selling this. You know, this one here you could have sold on the lower time frames. You know, it's like that other one I showed. But now we're starting to get that bullish divergence. For the buy, you want a nice breakout, bullish setup, and then you can look for a buy to go and break the top. It's more bullish at this stage because of how choppy it is. For the sell, I mean, for the sell, you'd be going down onto the lower time frames, and you'd more than likely be looking for a bearish hidden divergence in here. You'd be looking for a bearish hidden in here, and then you could look for a sell, just a scalp. But yeah, get it to break even, and if it really goes for you, well, you know, it's great. So I hope, yeah, you enjoyed the weekly outlook. If you did, please share, like, and subscribe. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.